Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our new show called Uninformed. And this is going to be a fun show. Basically, we are picking all types of topics to throw into a bowl. Oops, sorry. And we'll spin it around, we'll pick one out, and we're going to talk about it. And this is going to get very spicy. So let's put that out there now. If you're easily offended, maybe don't watch the show. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But the four of us are from completely different parts. Some of us are in the same state. Some of us aren't even in the same country. And so we all have various different opinions, especially even when it comes to like politics and whatnot. But we all get along really well. And we really want to foster that environment, but also be able to talk about our different views. And so we're hoping to not get heated, but I'm sure it will a little bit. But
I love how the person
fun and games.
I love how the person who says that is the one who gets the most heated when we don't agree with her.
That's not true. That is not true. I don't get heated.
You should go back and watch some of the ends of some of the Bobby's Cryptid Corners.
Yeah.
The only time I only get offended, mad is when you guys don't behave or if you cut me off. That's the only time I ever get mad.
No, there's a few times where if we don't agree with you, then you refuse to let us end the show and then have to explain to us how we should agree with you.
That might have happened once or twice, but many moons ago now. Anyways, see, look at we're already back and forth on this.
Thank you, Marvin.
Thank you, Eris. Oh, and thank you, Marvin. Yeah, see, I'm passionate, just passionate. COVID is definitely a topic I know we threw in here, and so we already have a bunch that we're throwing in, but it's also up to you guys. If you find a topic that you want to do, whatever, we will pay attention to the chat. I'll just write it on our sticky note and throw it in the bowl. We are going to try not to talk over each other, but in the cases that we, of course, always have to interject, we are going to say...
Point of privilege.
Point of personal privilege. Point of personal privilege, truth seekers, you should be really careful what body wash you're washing your balls with, because if there's any sort of fragrance, artificial or non-artificial, it could be giving you cancer. So, yeah. Bree, watch that documentary.
Yep. That's why I wash my balls with Sasquatch sweat.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm just going to say point of privilege because with too many P's, I'm going to be like... So I'm just going to say point of privilege.
Point of personal privilege.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Are we ready to jump in?
Let's do this.
Yeah, can you give us our first bowl?
Does anyone want to like give me a time frame or do you
1972.
That's a good.
Wow.
That's a good idea.
I mean, like no, like seconds, minutes. In here, there's so many of them, and they are. I'm scared. I'm so scared.
It looks like bubble gum.
Yeah, that's a little bit.
I really am scared. Oh, this is easy. Favorite recipe.
Oh, nice.
I guess we're starting off easy.
Yeah.
So we're starting off safe.
Well, it could
this
be
is the
spicy.
safest one we have.
Your favorite recipe. I'll go first. My favorite recipes include fake cooking, which means that you buy things that are already pre-done, but don't tell anyone about it and present it as if you've cooked it yourself. My perfect example is like what I did for Thanksgiving. I was signed up to cook a dish that I specifically said, don't sign me up to cook any dishes. And so I was told that I have to make one. So I was like, oh, I'm going to make scalloped potatoes. And so I went to Albertsons and I bought pre-done from the deli, like 2 containers. And I put it in a glass dish and then brought it and pretended that I cooked it. And I absolutely did fucking not.
An easy and lazy hack for anyone.
Yeah.
Right.
There's listen, it's not, in my eyes, it's not like you're telling a lie or tricking someone. If you're doing something like that personally, like you're not harming them, you're not stabbing somebody, like you're lying about whether you cooked that or not. And I don't think anything's wrong with that.
No.
I think based on the way a lot of the inside of people's houses look, they should do that. instead of actually cooking for people.
Oh no, that was a hot take.
No, but it's true. Okay, so have you guys?
On that, Penny?
Well, there's a lot
okay.
of people who aren't clean
I was
or
gonna say,
have
yeah,
like clean houses, and you definitely don't want them bringing whatever the fuck they put in their oven to the party.
Yeah, like I love a good potluck,
Sure.
but also I don't know how people cook their food or like how they keep their house. So like I'm not the person at a potluck who's like, I'm gonna go try everybody's food. Because I am gonna judge you a little bit and be like, I don't like no offense, but like I don't put raw chicken on my counter. I can't guarantee that Sally at work doesn't do that as well. Also, another big thing for me is like expiration dates. I'm very crazy about it. And so like, how do I know that somebody didn't use a milk that was a day expired in something? Because I wouldn't do that at home.
Okay, so Tony, do you have a favorite recipe?
I do. I think I'll go with one of them is backstraps, like grilled backstraps with mashed potatoes and asparagus.
What's a backstrap?
Bacon?
No, sorry. Backstrap is deer. Like it's like the ribeye from a deer.
Right.
Interesting.
And it runs from the neck all the way to the back.
The neck to the crack?
Neck to the crack.
Next to the crack. All right, Kari, what about you?
Probably carbonara or chili.
Carbonara.
I can't decide. Like
I was gonna say
little
chili.
food hacks with chili. Like if you put a little bit of like hot chocolate powder into the mix, it makes it like it makes it creamy, and
Not
it's
into that.
just try it. Try
Sounds
it.
real British. Okay,
Okay,
Brie?
so when I was thinking recipe, I was thinking of something that I make.
Oh.
And the only thing that came to my head was actually, oh shit. I also
6
make
more
a
just
really
came.
good. I know. I also make a really good fried chicken lately. I'm just gonna say chili. It's nice. It's good. Gets it moving. Okay. Next one. And that's like the safest one that we have. I'm pretty positive.
I was like, yeah, I feel like we started off real safe.
Oh, this is gonna be great. Religion.
Oh. Oof. Oof.
Oof.
Okay.
Okay.
Who wants to start this one?
I think that organized religion is a scam and a cult, all of them in general. Anyone agree?
Absolutely.
I agree on
I
the
will
business
elaborate in
practice
different,
side.
but
No, that's what I mean, like organized religion. I think that it's different when you're talking about your personal spiritual journey. I think that there's nothing scammy or wrong with that, but I think organized religion, where they're like forcing you once a week to go into church and pray or else, you know, something bad's gonna happen to you, I think is weird and scammy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I will say that, you know, I was definitely very Christian for a long time. And what really brought me away more than anything, like what really pulled me away, was the behavior of other people, really putting a lot of pressure on me to always be a certain way. And, you know, I just felt like, hold on, like if I'm not doing outrageous things, and a curse word slips out or whatever, like that's just part of being human. And I felt like there were a lot of things that I was pretending weren't me instead of just naturally being me. And I think that when it comes to, especially with like Christianity, a lot of it is the other people, the other members of the church that keep people away from the actual message of what's in the Bible. You know, it's those people that are on the corner of the street saying like, God hates gays, or like you're going to hell. It's those types of things that keep people away from religion or, you know, reading the Bible, other than just listening to reading what is actually in the words. And they happen to be usually the most just opposite people. You know, they'll do things like, I know Jamie brought this up earlier, like against abortion, but then they'll bomb the clinic. Or like with Catholic, you know, it's really a big thing, like against adultery. They're like the biggest adulterers. Or like what happened with all the poor little boys and the Catholic priests, and that was just covered up. But yet they really are in charge of so many things in this world. I mean, I think the Vatican probably rules the entire world, to be honest.
Well, I think what mine and Bree's problem with a lot of religions are, I can't speak for Kari and Tony, but I know ours is, it's just more of the hypocrisy, I think, is the issue. Is like they have this ideal and this standard that they don't even hold themselves to, but they hold everyone else to. And they think that it's their job and duty to go run around and basically be like God's police officer, like telling people what's right or wrong. And we were talking about this a little bit before we started. I don't know how much about you heard me saying this, Bree, but like, it's weird to me that like people who believe in Jesus and how Jesus was killed for all of our sins, right? Yet Christians go around making such a big deal worrying about if people are sinning or not. But that's literally like God gave
Not
you
your business.
like God gave you the choice of free will to sin or not to sin, and then killed his own son so you can still go to heaven regardless of what you do. So I don't understand why people who believe in Jesus thinks it's important to run around and tell people about Jesus. Get what I'm saying?
Because it becomes more, I think, about them and policing people than it does the actual word.
Exactly. That's exactly what I mean, yeah.
Which is what drove me away to begin with. And it's like, it sucks because obviously, yeah, like God is good. God is great. Occult journeys, yeah. But what happens is that people miss the message. They miss the overall purpose, and they turn it into this straight up institutional situation where you have to be this certain way, even though those people that are pointing the fingers, you know, three other pointing right back at them. It just makes no sense. I honestly believe that there's some people out there that are so much better and so much more pure in their heart, but don't subscribe to a particular religion, opposed to other people that might subscribe to that religion, but they're like nasty people. They're like judgmental, put you down, just really don't live that life. They just talk it. Kari?
I don't know. I had a weird upbringing with religion. I was in and around the Jehovah's Witness sect in my town, and I stopped going when I was like 11 because I was like, no, because they were weird. They were weird people.
I was just gonna say, this is weird.
This is awkward.
They were like, it was really weird, but
you just made me add
I've
something.
heard a lot of people who have come from the Jehovah's Witness side of the world where like after you start to get into it and learn more and they take you to their weird little rooms and tell you their secrets, just the more fucking weird and creepy it gets. You're just like, what? Like, what?
They're very similar to Scientology, which
Very.
I'm adding to the thing because it should be its own. Very similar to Scientology and the way that it breaks down families. And it's crazy that the things that people do in the name of God. I truly think that if anything that they believed were true, that their God is sitting there just like, what are you doing? Like, I never said that. Like, that's
Is it the Jehovah's Witnesses or the Mormons who only believe that there's only room in heaven for 37,000 people?
No.
No.
Jehovah's Witnesses are more.
Is that the Mormons then? Because I know one of them believes that only so many people are getting to heaven, which was like a slight oversight on the people who started the religion.
Was like Old Testament Christianity.
Oh, that's
so
what you
Jews.
read? Yeah, that's Jewish.
That was primarily
Jews.
Kind of,
Pretty much.
it's been a very long time.
So how do you feel? So what's the overall view, Kari? So we don't. Your time.
So the business side is certainly kind of a business cult, you know, but
business cult.
But in terms of like the spiritual side, where there's organized structure is where it goes wrong, I think. Like when it's more, you know, like Buddhism or mostly Buddhism. It's the one I've connected with the most, which is like, it's very non-hierarchical. It's just you, which is like, that's, yeah, kind of the complete opposite of what I grew up in, which is nice. Like I found like where I'm comfortable. But Yeah, them's my thoughts.
What about you, Tones?
I really don't care for organized religion at all. No matter what flavor it is. You always have like these extreme psychos in every single religion, whether it's
1,000%.
Whether it's Muslims and ISIS or like Christians with the when they stormed all over and killed a bunch of people. Like it's just throughout.
Also, statistically, most murderers and serial killers were Christians. But go ahead.
And there seems to be a connection between that and like strong religious beliefs and people who end up either turning their kids into serial killers or
Well, I think that there's a lot of religious trauma that happens inside of a lot of people. I think, unfortunately, I mean this respectfully, but I think that people who are deeply into religion tend to be a little bit insecure and are not comfortable in themselves, which is why their whole personality is wrapped up inside of it, because they can't think for themselves and they don't have an idea of who they are. So they latch on to this idea of religion because it makes them feel safe. I think that's what happens to people who are really deep into it. And I feel like a lot of times the people who are the deepest into it end up the people coming out of it and being against it in the long run. You know what I mean? I feel like that happens a lot. Not to everyone who goes deep, but there's a lot of people who go deep inside the rabbit holes and then come back out the other side and then really advocate against it. Like in Scientology, what's her name? Yeah, and now she's just like, she full blown turned around. Like she grew up in it. She was as deep as you can get in that stuff. And then to completely turn around and be like, no, fuck these people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's because again, what happens is it turns into the people and their pressure more than the actual text that was given to us by these prophets, which is the biggest shame of all, because it's humanity turning something that should have been for the good and really messing it up, but then trying to push it on people. But because they're pushing so aggressively, it just messes everything up. And it's just really sad that
and I think the fact that a lot of it comes from like a long time ago. It's not like people were the smartest creatures back then. They were
1,000%.
like there's a tribe, or I don't know if there's still a tribe. No, they've got modern stuff, but they believe that a lunar eclipse is a snake eating the moon, and they shoot AK-47s at the moon to make the snake go away.
Oh,
and
that's
was
beautiful.
like, what the fuck?
That sounds like some kind of studio trip.
Are you? I feel like what you're alluding to, kind of a little bit, Tony, is like this idea that their religion was important and had a meaning and a purpose at a certain point in time. But I think that in today's world, how seriously people take it shouldn't be like they did back then, because we have different ways to do things. I feel like back then, like religion, realistically, fundamentally, at the end of the day, was built as sort of kind of like a control and morality mechanism, right? Yeah. To keep people in line, to get people to follow these certain rules, because if you don't, these are the things that are going to happen to you. And I think that we have prisons and things and stuff now, so like people can't, like, it's a lot less threatening these days to be like, well, if you murder that person, God's going to be mad at you. Like,
yeah, and I think George
Carlin
Carlin said it the best when he was like, if you do these bad things, God is going to punish you and he's going to send you to hell and this, that, and the other. He's like, but he loves you.
Yeah, but that becomes the excuse.
Before there was prisons, I guess it was just people acting as agents of what they perceived to be God. So they're just
Exactly. So
well,
they just got rid of them.
That's why I think there was the 10 Commandments to begin with, because you don't have any type of law where people think that there's something greater than
point of personal privilege.
Like their immediate person in a second is, I'm not hating on the Jews. I'm just saying I
No, I'm
think
not.
that these things were created to establish some sort of guidelines for people. It keeps some sort of like universal law for people not to be total dicks to each other.
Yes, but that also just proves my point, because there was actually way more than 10 commandments. It's just that certain religions chose these specific 10 commandments as, okay, these are the ones that we're going to instill upon the rest of the world. These are the ones that are the rules. And then completely ignored all the other shit that they were talking about. So like they decided what was a sin and not a sin with the quote unquote 10 commandments in the tablets.
But and more than that too, just in the scriptures.
If you look at like the 10 commandments from not a religious point of view, but as like a societal point of view, it held society together. Like, don't murder people, don't sleep with your neighbor's wife, or he'll murder you, but don't murder. Like, it was all just designed to make civilization kind of, you know, coexist with each other and bring people from outside of your little town or your village or whatever and grow your village and grow civilization. So it played a really big part in where humans are today as far as organized culture.
I think it's important we bring this one back up, because I think that this is hilarious. But then, like, also, not only did he nail his son to a cross and murder him, he also brought him back to life for no reason, his dead, lifeless little zombie body. And then also, he, like, drowned the entire world once. And then, like, once we all learned how to, like, speak the same language, he, like, gave us all different languages. Like, quite honestly, this whole, like, God loves us thing is, it's a stretch to me when you read the Bible.
For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, so whoever shall believe in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. That is the most famous John 3:16. And it sounds very backwards, but the whole background on that is that the Bible never pushes that God is a fun-loving. He loves you, yes, but only under circumstances, right? It's like, I forgive you, but overall, everything is pushed for the fear of God. He's a vengeful God, fear of God. And again, it's really pushing the fear on people to behave a certain way.
Well, and I think it's interesting too, because if God really just wanted us to fucking behave, he wouldn't have gave us free will, and he would have had little robots that worshiped him. And so he gave us free will, I think, because he hated us. He was like sick of us, and he was like, all right, you fucking heathens, I'm done with you. I'm done trying to make it nice for you guys. Here's some fucking zebras and some anacondas. Go fuck yourself.
Well, because back in the day, right, with other religions, they would have a sacrifice.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you sacrifice something to the gods. So that's why Jesus was supposed to be the final lamb, the final sacrifice, that God created his son and gave his final sacrifice.
So I don't understand then why the Christians won't let me have an abortion then, because Jesus died. So why should it matter?
Yeah.
Why should it matter? Because again, back to what I said earlier.
So relax.
I was like, back to what I said earlier about how, you know, Christians tend to be serial killers, the men anyways. So like, is it because their God is forgiving so they can murder people and just be like, well, if I ask God for forgiveness, it's totally fine that I murdered people?
Which upsets me the most. And I think that that's very high in like Catholicism. Is, you know, you do your
personally irritate me.
You you know, tell your sins, you do your 10 Hail Marys, you know, then you're all good to go. And I just don't think that's a good, like, I think that for the everyday person, like, this just doesn't work anymore. You can't be like, go ahead and kill all those people, but as long as you admit it,
it's God's fine. Like, that's what I'm saying.
It's all good.
Yeah.
And it's like all sins are graded the same, so it doesn't matter if you stole a pretzel or if you killed someone. You said you're sorry, I forgive you. That just like what?
I think it's hilarious that at the same time that Cambridge had become a university, or Oxford had become a full-fledged university, the Aztecs were still, sacrificing people to make corn grow. And like, that's how big of a difference there was on just two different sides of the world.
Jesus and God did not make bone cancer. That would be pharmaceutical companies.
Pfizer did that.
Yeah.
So it lands us in this thing of like religion at the core. Not bad. I really don't think there's anything wrong with religion at the core.
I think that
every text, they're so similar, and it's not as negative as people take it. But that's also because of different texts being translated differently. And then also going back to what Jamie was saying about the 10 Commandments, how there used to be like 1 million. That's the same thing with scripture. There used to be so many other books. It's just a handful of men got to pick the ones that they like and add things in there for their own benefit, I truly believe.
And I still think that there's a lot of misinformation being spread about all religions in general today. Like, I think that that's a really big issue that we have when it comes to, like, let's just say, like, the Muslim religion, right? Like, a lot of people are like, oh, they're terrorists and this and that. And it's like, well, actually, if you look at their religion, it's actually super fucking peaceful. But just like everything else in the world, you have people who pick and choose the things that they read and look into and the things that they want to promote. And then you have some weird offshoot who is getting labeled as a whole community when it's not. It's just these group of people who have taken and, you know, mixed the words around and misconstrued things to make it play to what they want to do with their lives.
There's always an extremist out there, man.
Always.
That goes with
it's
anything
called
out
Islam.
there.
Just want to put that in there. It's called Islam.
It is
Islam. Islam.
But the thing is that people just take that, and it's not all Islam. It's not all like that, though. So
Well, it's the same with Christianity, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's the same with people are just people. I mean, you're going to have shit people that believe some things, but because they're just shit people, they're going to do shit things. And sometimes they do it in the name of their religion, and sometimes they do it just because they're shit people.
No, but I will put this in. I'll put that in the bowl. The chat GPT. So
Bible would have been written by women. They probably did, and then they threw away. Those are all the books they threw away.
That's also
just because they were recipes for bread.
Recipes for bread. That's a good one. That really is a good one.
He's like, fuck you.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Okay, I think that was all we pretty much does everyone feel like they said what they had to say, at least about the blanket version of religion, and then we'll add more.
Yeah, that was a good jumping off point.
Yeah.
Everyone feel heard and you said your piece?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I have a feeling that this is going to get worse because we did that really well.
It's just going so much better than we thought it
would. So much better than I thought. All right. Here we go.
Let me tell you guys my thoughts on. Oh, boo.
Oh, this is another easy one. Boo.
Or what is it?
Paparazzi.
Paparazzi.
The overall question here is, how do we feel about, I guess, people's rights when it comes to if you are in, let's say, any type of public figure?
I think that it's interesting that when you become a public figure, you're kind of signing up a little bit to be public, right? So I think that there's that aspect of it. But then I also think that there's a lot of people who are celebrities who have incredibly private lives that we don't know anything about. So I think that it's something that can be achieved if you truly, really want to not be like a public persona, but be famous. But I think what my big issue with paparazzi is not that they can like go out and like take pictures and like, you know, celebrities walking on the street. I think that we have a big problem in society with really slimy people who are paparazzi who like go out of their way to like maybe get some inappropriate pictures and blackmail people. Or we have a lot of that, I think, happening. Or like TMZ right now, which is getting in a lot of trouble. They were just reported to like the federal government for like lying about stories. They took like a Britney Spears video and like made it go in reverse and then put that on their website to make it look like Britney Spears was acting crazy when she wasn't, kind of a thing. So like I said, I think that the bigger issue is that it seems that the paparazzi have no morals these days.
I agree with
it is.
Lindsay's comment is, yeah, there are absolutely like the lower grade celebrities that do that to get attention, or if they just want to plan it. But I think there's a lot of celebrities out there that truly have zero privacy. And there are instances where, like, think of Princess Diana, for example. I mean, we lost her. Well, yeah, you could say that there's obviously a conspiracy behind that. But the overall consensus is that she was ultimately killed by paparazzi. And there have been plenty of other videos out there of, you know, celebrities that are just doing their normal day, but the paps really want to see them. And that seems to be something that still carries on to the royals currently. And it's like, in certain situations when there's children involved and there are in their faces and, you know, they can't, it's like, imagine just walking down the street with all of these bright flashlights, just like flash bulbs in your face, and you have a kid in your arm. That's so disorientating. But I think the public, we feel that because we've put them in a higher place where they receive a certain level of income, that means that in trade we get to see every aspect of their life. And I just don't think that's fair. I think that's removing the humanity from them. I understand that we look at them like, oh, it's so easy. They get to go and like shoot on a movie set, even though most of us can't even act anyway. Or, you know, they just get to sing or they do this and that. I think it's still taxing on someone. And so I just feel like we just don't value people as much when they're in the public eye. We just think like they're ours to look at. Kardashians is a great example. They for sure have exploited themselves. But I still think that we overall look at them as just like viewing property.
Well, as far as the Kardashians go, no family has made more money off of a sex tape than those people.
For sure.
I mean, just like what do they bring to any aspect of society at all besides Instagram filters and young girls feeling bad about their bodies because they see it on Instagram and then it gives them fucking psychological disorders that they have to deal with.
No, for sure. I think it's not just younger people too. Like, I think that all these filters and things on social medias affect not like everybody. It's not just like younger generations.
It's a topic.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. But as far as
the paparazzi in general, like how do you feel about the Kardashians? If you're going to talk about them, they should probably be their own damn topic. But do you think that means that we should have access to every part of them? That we should be able to, you know, be like right outside of their house or following them to the movie theater or waiting outside their doctor's appointments or, you know, being able to get stories where their best friends sometimes sell very intimate details just because they know they can call TMZ and make a really quick 100K.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, the whole thing with paparazzi in America is it's a First Amendment issue. So they consider themselves the press, journalists, or whatever. So they're protected under the First Amendment. But where does the First Amendment end and privacy begin? So that kind of is my take as far as paparazzi is concerned. I mean, they have the right to take pictures of you in public and blah, blah, blah. But do they have the right to sit outside your bedroom window filming you? No, that's called a peeping Tom. And then they sell it and make money off of it. And then that person, the subject of whatever video, has to go through court and go through all these things, and they'll probably lose because they'll just say it was a First Amendment thing.
I think you can look at it on a broader scale. So, like, the Kardashians are a good example of contributing to this kind of cottage industry where there's a transactional nature to it when they phone the paparazzi and be like, hey, I'm at this restaurant or whatever. Like, that the system that they're kind of contributing to, that it warps the value system that they're kind of assigning. So they'll be like, they're not looking at it like privacy invasion, the way that outsiders might look at it and be like, why do we need to know these things? Like, they're making a conscious decision a lot of the time to show the world that kind of aspect of their life for whatever reason that they kind of think up in the moment. But it's definitely a broader system that people are like contributing to, because there is a monetary gain there usually.
I'm not gonna lie, I personally wish that I was followed around by paparazzi, because I have a big ego and I would love for people to take pictures of me.
I
that's the system.
would jump. I already deal with paranoia when I leave my house. I feel like everyone's always watching. It's so weird. So I don't think I would be able to handle that. And I know there's lots of people that, celebrities, people have talked about not wanting that type of attention, or understanding, but like a time and a place, are not being able to walk anywhere, go anywhere, drive anywhere. Definitely don't throw on some clothes and leave the house to grab, an orange at the street, because they're going to get the worst picture of you. And then the tabloids are going to spin some crazy story. I just feel like I wish that there was some type of law, to be honest. Maybe that's just within a certain range. Like, maybe you have to stay within 15 feet or like 10 feet of taking your picture, so that you're not bombarding them in their face. I think that would be extremely overwhelming.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's not enforceable. I think that's why you have people who have so many like security guards and stuff who surround them, who are like literally pushing people out of the fucking way.
Well, I'm just thinking about how long we did the 6-foot rule here for COVID.
Yeah.
And like people were crazy, like 6 feet, or what I mean? So I just feel like
that income wasn't incumbent upon getting closer than 6 feet though. Like the paparazzi, that they their job is to get as close as they can.
Mm-hmm.
True. So I think what I'm just getting at is that I personally feel that just because someone is in the public eye and they're famous, I don't think that means that I have full access to every little bit of their life, and that people should be following them constantly with cameras. Just because they make more money and they are considered a celebrity, I don't think that their privacy belongs to me, or that it should be compromised because of their position.
Free Britney.
I mean, I agree with that, but they were also signing up for the system that breaks that. So it's, if they want privacy, stop being a paparazzi person.
I'm a little bit with Kari on that one as well. Like, okay, if you don't want to be photographed going to the movies, then you have millions of dollars, put a fucking movie theater in your house, and then you don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I also think it's normal for your mental health to need to like leave the house and not feel like you have to create some sort of castle, some landmines around you just to live a little bit of a normal life.
But I think that goes with celebrity, though. That's what you're trading off. So I get what you're saying. But if they didn't want that at the end of the day, then you shouldn't be a famous singer and you shouldn't be an actor. You should have got a job as a fucking accountant. If your personal life was that important to you, why are you a public persona? That's all I'm saying. There's other jobs you could do.
It's being a paparazzi persona. Like, I'm talking specifically more about the people that love the fact that the paparazzi follows them around because it causes drama and hype. Yeah. Like there's a lot of famous people that do completely fly under the radar because they don't engage with the paparazzi, and it's not a transactional relationship there, so that it doesn't continue the cycle of you get all these like OK Magazine or whatever, where it's like these celebrities go on and tell a story, and another one will come on and give the other side, or it's like this soap opera. Yeah, but it's real people.
Yeah, and you can just look at people like Keanu Reeves, who has like one of the most private lives ever. And he's a huge star, gets a shit ton of money on his movies.
And we only recently saw his girlfriend, and everyone was so mean.
Yeah,
I'm very disappointed.
Wait, what are you disappointed in? The way people reacted to his girlfriend or his girlfriend?
His girlfriend. I hope that they're in an open relationship.
Why? Because she's old?
Unpack that a little bit.
Yeah. Is it because you like Keanu Reeves?
I don't like Keanu Reeves. I love Keanu Reeves.
I was like, I'm gonna say he gives me him and Josh have some similarities. Like if Josh grew his hair out a little bit, I could see it.
Josh is Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, it's okay. Every time I look at Corey, he looks like fucking Jim Carrey from Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, okay. I'll say that in the Grinch.
The Grinch as well is another one. Like we watch the Grinch, I'm always like, ooh, you do that, ooh, you do that. But anything Jim Carrey, he recently put on the Dumb and Dumber, and I literally looked at him and I was like, why are we watching a movie with you in it? And he was like, asshole. But he looks. I mean, the hairline was the same. He's like country, so he's a little slow. I was like,
So
did they write
he's
this
a
about you?
little slow.
Next
And so
topic.
it's more like grandma manner.
Do you guys sound how good I sound for having COVID? I hope everyone can hear how I'm stronger than COVID.
This is gonna be
We
a
do
really
sound
quick,
how good you sound.
This is
Thank
gonna be
you.
a really quick one. This is
Okay.
This is hilarious to me. Okay, so some people were worried that we would instantly be canceled as a group for some of the things that we put in here. So they're like, throw in some safe ones, some like lighthearted ones. We're getting all of that today.
Oh, great.
Next topic is a hot dog a sandwich?
Ah, beautiful. Yes, I
This
love
could be
this.
controversial though.
Yeah, it could be. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So,
I don't think it's a sandwich.
I say no, plain and simple. Next person.
okay, so if it's not a sandwich, would you think that a hot dog is its own thing, or is a hot dog now a taco, or a shawarma, or a burrito?
Oh, it's kind of a taco with one big fat.
That's what I was
stick of
thinking. I'm
meat
thinking
in it.
more of a taco. But then, would you consider is a taco only something that has like a tortilla, or would you consider bread a different version of a taco? Or if you're going to call a hot dog not a sandwich, what about a sub? A sub isn't cut all the way through.
No, but it would make more sense to call it like an American gyro.
For some reason, I want to call it a sandwich boat.
It's an American Euro. I like that.
I don't think that we can class like hot dog buns as being like slices of bread for a sandwich. So
Or a taco shell.
Yeah. So Pinzer brings up a good point. If a hot dog is a sandwich, a taco is a sandwich.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
But a
I
taco is
don't-
not a sandwich; it's a
Yeah.
taco.
Is a quesadilla also would a quesadilla be a taco then?
But then
No.
we
Be a
can extrapolate
hamburger.
this out to like burritos and pies when it's just pastry around a filling. Like
Okay, so that's another thing then. What about pies, right? Savory pies, unsavory
a
pies.
pie is not a sandwich.
Why not? Crust on top, crust on bottom.
Not all pies have crust on top.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
God.
Not all
I don't like
sandwiches have a top and a bottom. There's hot open face sandwiches.
Yeah, the only fucking hippies buy that shit.
I'm sorry, but the problem is I think that what we're learning here is that we can't generalize anything. Nothing can be generalized, and everything
I
is within
agree.
the category.
I agree.
Next topic.
Give me the hot one. Give me a hot take, will you?
See, exactly. Look, is pussy a taco? Is it?
Here we go.
Some of them have cheese.
Jeez.
Jamie, what the
Uh,
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
all right. Let's reel it
dear.
in. This is gonna be a hot topic here.
Okay.
The role of violence in the media.
That's a good one.
Ooh, the role of violence in the media. I'm not going to go first this time.
Okay. I will say I'll say the role of violence in the media is the media loves violence. As much as they will sit there and go, this is the most heartbreaking thing I've ever seen. Every time there's a school shooting, I'm pretty sure CNN's ratings go up. And they will sit there and run that shit all day long.
But what does that have
weeks
to
on
say?
end.
But what does that have to say about us as a society, though? Because what's making their ratings go up is the fact that we're tuning in to watch it.
Right.
Their ratings, they wouldn't be showing it, and the ratings wouldn't be going up if we weren't so fucking obsessed with it. And I think that kind of like speaks to, what's that one movie, The Hunger Games, right?
Yeah,
Ooh, I
or
love a good
Demolition
intro.
Man.
Like it's kind of like that if it bleeds, it leads. It's kind of like Hunger Games. Like I feel like the whole point of the Hunger Games realistically was because people enjoyed watching violence.
Mm-hmm.
And so if people enjoy it, of course the media is going to show it more. I think that the media is now using it in two different ways. I think the first way to do it is one, because they like ratings and people tune in and they watch it. But I think the second one is they use it for fear, because I think that that's how they control a lot of the masses. You show all these wars and these things that are going on in other places, and it stops people from wanting to go there, things like that. So I think if anything, media violence is just a tool of controlling.
What about violence in like TV shows and movies, like gratuitous violence?
Ooh.
I think so. For me personally, it depends on the context. I greatly dislike things like superhero or action movies. Could give two shits less about them, don't care about the violence in them. But in a horror movie, you need a good violence. You can't be having a horror movie without like some stabby McStabs and some head choppy offies. So like, I think that it depends on the context. I personally don't enjoy violence unless it's a horror movie.
What do you think then that horror movies are there's like a shock culture to it where they're always trying to outdo their contemporaries around them, but it leads to a desensitization from the audience to that kind of violence, which
there's
then feeds into the whole media violence type fear thing.
There's a difference between like a good horror movie and then gore porn. Like the hospital movies and the Saw movies is just gore porn. That's all it is.
Yeah.
There's no plot. There's no fucking substance to it. It's just watch this person get ripped in half. Why?
Yeah, I don't want
yay.
But then that feeds into the wanting to see like real-time violence on the news too, because it's this normalization of that being like something that you can find.
Oh, well, it's 2023. Just go onto TikTok and you can see all the videos from the Ukrainian soldiers in Ukraine dropping bombs on Russians and blowing them up in their ditches and shit.
I was going to say, I think the bigger issue here is the fact that the internet has made us desensitized to lots of things, not just violence and not,
this was happening from the 70s.
No, but I think that the internet is the catalyst for it because it made all of it incredibly available at all of our fingertips, the desensitization tools. So like,
there was jet fuel on the fire, but the fire was started in the media.
No, I agree, but I think that now, like just for example, porn. Okay. Porn is a great one of now how incredibly desensitized our culture is to it and how absolutely weird people have gotten with it because some people have to have that crazy stuff now. So I think that, and without the internet, that wouldn't have been possible. We couldn't have been desensitized to porn unless we were able to have access to porn that desensitized us.
Porn in the bucket.
Unfettered access.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Brie.
So like, I love scary movies. I watch that over anything. Don't like horror.
Wait.
I will say it's interesting. Like horror, like
like
I have
gore
gory. Like I don't like gory. I'm not gonna watch the Saws. I will say it's interesting though that if the news is playing nothing but violence, our scary movie genres are getting gorier and gorier, then are we just desensitized to everything? Because I personally, and this is really sad, I am very desensitized to anything in the news. I don't watch it because I think it is in fact fear porn, but also because it just seems like the same story. It's that deja vu feeling. I've heard this shit before. It's just over and over and over again. So I am desensitized to that, and that is really problematic because you're looking at horrible headlines every day, and to not be shocked by people is really sad for humanity. But it's like interesting that at the both spectrums, we have like one side just getting crazier and crazier, one side constantly putting it out, and we're just like, meh. Like, why? If the whole point is to keep us in fear, if anything, I think it's to keep us in fear of each other. for certain situations. So not necessarily like just any other horror movie where, you know, like the plot really makes no sense. That wouldn't really happen. But to be afraid of each other. When the violence is being spinned to being by a particular race or organization. I think that's what it's being used for.
It's interesting you say that because there's a series of movies that completely capitalizes on what you're talking about. It's the Purge movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Where it's about fear of everyone else, but done in an institutional way where it's all led by the government and the media, and it's all sanctioned and normalized like that. I look at those movies as kind of like a warning, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, this is what could happen if you don't, you know.
But then we know that just wouldn't work. Because humanity never just takes a bite. It has to eat the whole pie. So I think they don't let me know that couldn't actually happen. Because there's no way it would just continue on. But it is interesting. Last pool. I'm kind of disappointed today. I thought we were going to get in a fight.
We still good.
There's still time.
I kind of want to get in a fight. Sometimes our fights are off camera. That's why we're like, why don't we just do fights on camera?
He's feeling froggy.
Yeah.
Froggy fresh? Oh.
Oh no.
Did she speak too soon?
Abortion.
What a spicy one to end on.
For abortions. I am pro-choice. Fuck your pro-life. It's a clump of cells. I don't understand why it's everybody's business or not their business. Did y'all know that my dog right here, look at her. Look how cute she is. Look at that face. If she got pregnant right now and I didn't want her to have babies, I could take her to a vet and get all the babies sucked out of her. And that's my goddamn right. Why can't I do it to my own body? Okay? That's how I feel. I don't think that men in any capacity should have any part whatsoever in deciding any sort of laws or regulations on women's body. It has nothing to do with you. Okay? If you are going to get upset that a woman is going to abort your child, don't stick your dick inside of her. Okay? That's how I feel about it. All right?
Plain and simple.
I also think that all men should be put on birth control. They should get that little switch thing that they put in them where they turn the little switch off and then you don't have any sperm that work until you turn fucking like 32. Yes, absolutely it is. And then they can turn the switch back on. Yeah, because men take a long time to mature and anything before 32, not worth anybody's time. That's what I think. I also think that women should just be left alone. Let them do what they want. Let them rule the world. I'm sick of you all. I'm sorry, Tony, but your opinion on this doesn't matter. I hope that when we come to you, you say that I have no opinion and women should make all the decisions. Amen.
That's absolutely what I'm going to say.
Hey, perfect, Tony. What do you got to say?
Absolutely the opposite of that. So this is what you brought up with, like, men should have absolutely no say in this. I remember when the Supreme Court decision came down, there's a lot of women on TikTok who were like, why aren't men saying anything? And all the guys were just like, you told us to shut the fuck up. This is your problem. You made it your problem by making it just your problem. So if women can decide whether or not they want the kid or whatever, right? Then men should be able to decide whether or not they should have to pay child support. Because the woman made a decision to keep the kid. So why does the guy have to be financially tied for 18 years to a kid he doesn't want?
You do know that you can sign away your parental rights and then no longer have to pay child support, right? You understand that that's an option that men can do.
Depends on the state.
Well, again, you shouldn't be sticking your dick inside of somebody maybe you're like not in a long-term relationship with, or somebody that you haven't talked about those things beforehand. Like, personally, myself, before I partake
It
in
goes
any sort of
both ways.
before I partake in any sort of new sexual activity with someone, I blatantly tell them I do not like children, and if I ever get pregnant, I'll yeet that shit so fucking fast. So your decision to stick your dick in me is your choice right here and now. I'm telling you now, no babies up in this temple. Fuck off. Eggs scrambled, not fertilized. Okay.
Well, you see, I'm 38 and I don't have kids, so obviously I've been careful for the last 20 years. But
that's true.
There is a shared responsibility, regardless of it's just the guy's fault. It could just be this or that or this. It's a decision. Everybody's making a decision. Not everybody, because
I think it's in the
rape
act.
exists, but
I think in the act, when it comes to the conception of the child, yes, there's two people. But then I think once the baby gets like growing, then it should be it's kind of the person carrying to make that decision.
There's a man in Japan or China right now, a doctor who is trying to be the first person to transplant a uterus into somebody who isn't biologically a woman. So what I think we should do going forward is
we're not seahorses.
I was like, Tony, if this is how you feel, then you're going to start carrying a uterus with you and you're going to carry the baby. I think men should carry the children, and that should be your burden and responsibility now. The women will take care of them and stay at home after you pop them out. But you know what? You carry that goddamn thing around and let it leach off of you and drain you of all your nutrients.
That is literally what a woman's body is designed to do.
Okay, and today you're going to learn how yours is going to learn to do that too.
Once again, not a seahorse.
I'm going to start calling you seahorse. Danielle, can you please start calling you seahorse? Like, hi, good morning, my little seahorse.
Here's a little seahorse. What would you like to eat today?
Be like, look, I made you some fish, you little seahorse, for dinner.
Kari, do you want to weigh? I'll go last.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Yes. Yeah, Danielle said, Tony, I vote you grow our babies. Yep. Yeah. Make him carry it. Ruin his body. Tony, you got a little bit of a belly? I bet you'd look cute with a belly.
I got a little bit of a belly.
Can we Kari, please.
Okay, so I'm pro-choice.
These kids are crazy.
Good job.
Up to a certain point, unless it's medical necessity. So like when it's like 7 or 8 months or 9 months, I feel like it's a little bit too far. But unless it's medical necessity where the mother is going to die, but I'm pro-choice. Like, do what you want to do. Just, have some ethics, I guess.
Yes. I will say, I think that there's this very misconceived notion that the women that are pro-choice are like, you know what? Before I say this doesn't speak to Amy, in her opinion.
Don't let me do this shit.
People assume that the women that are pro-choice are like, hell yeah, just get rid of this baby whenever I want. If I'm 9 months and I'm like, you know what? Change of plans. Get rid of it. It's my right. I don't. Honestly, most women.
I don't think that happens often. But
most women don't want to get an abortion. So I think that people use this idea of like, oh, well, they're just like a bunch of whores going around just fucking people and being like, well, at least I could just abort it. That's not the case. It's really not the case. There is an emotional reaction that is your body. That's a very invasive situation that's going on. Like women don't want to have to do this. There's not one person that's like, oh, I just want to get pregnant so I can abort the bitch. Like no one is like that. And I think that people use that as an excuse that they're just like, well, women are just like, just being floozies and they want to do this every month. One, that's not possible.
Well, I think what you mean, Bree, is a lot of people assume that people are using abortions as birth control, and that's not the fucking case. They are using it because their other form of birth control, whether it be birth control, condoms, whatever it was that they used, failed them. And so now they're having to go to a backup plan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, y'all, do people not see the world we live in and the fact that we have tons of children who are like not being taken care of, or like people get so mad that like there's so many people on government like welfare and things like that? Y'all understand that by taking away abortions, you are continuing those things.
Cycles.
The things that you were talking about, the things that you're mad that your tax dollars are being paid for, all of that could be solved if you allowed women to have their health care and kept your fucking nose out of it.
That was the
So
biggest
what if
argument
we
I got
just-
into when it came to Roe v. Wade, was that people are like, they care about the womb. They care about the womb. Okay, but this is going to affect a huge majority of people that can't pay for like the best healthcare or whatever, or the state that they're in is going to vote totally against that. So guess what? Chances are they're going to be immediately put into that system that you are so against. You are so against people being on government assistance. Do you actually care about a child if you're not willing to donate your time or try to fix a foster system? You know how many kids go into the foster system and immediately are either like raped, put into child like labor or human trafficked, or eventually they get out, but what do? They hit the streets because they don't have any other support. They don't have any other care. Then they get themselves in these situations where they're on the streets, they're dealing drugs, they're doing this, they're doing that. They might even impregnate another person, decide to choose it, like, or to keep it. Like, all of these things just, they trickle down like dominoes. And it's like, we have to start at the root of the issue, not, well, we care about the baby until you have it, and then guess what? That's not our business.
So I'm gonna say something spicy.
All right.
But I'm gonna turn my lights on. Look at that.
Okay.
I got lights now.
Ooh, look
You
at
got
you.
spicy lights?
Spicy lights.
I do think the whole issue is overblown to some degree.
Yeah, so
Like,
what
in
if
media where they make out that there's these extreme things happening, but like we don't know for sure. I
what
can
if
know how I would feel about it, but I don't know that it's happening.
we changed the language and just called school shootings late-term abortions?
That's what my mom tells me all the time when she gets mad at me. She'll be like, there's always time for a late-term abortion, and she means killing me.
So, but that really has nothing to do with it. Like,
It doesn't,
we're talking
though.
about like
It doesn't.
contraception.
It was a joke.
I know.
I think
It was
it's
bad.
It's personal responsibility on both sides, but like
Yes.
it's more of the male's responsibility in the first part of the transaction, but then it's then the female's responsibility after that.
See, but
And
here's
that's
the
where
thing,
the
though.
choice comes in, because they're making a choice to do with that responsibility.
Well,
Mike's
that's a
coming here.
societal issue that we take sex in a way that it's so like this free open sex culture. There's going to be, consequences to that, whether it's an STI or a child or whatever. If you're going to do the act, I'm not saying that there should be no such thing as abortions ever. There are cases where I think there should be. But there are people who use it as a contraceptive and who have had 3 or 4 or 5 abortions. And the fact that those people exist and are abusing the system in that way should bring pause to it for us to go, okay, so how should the system work then?
No, because there is always somebody who abuses any system, regardless of what it is. Regardless, there's somebody who abused literally anything. So if you're thinking about it on that track, then that means that we would have to look at everything in general, right? So like you're opening up a way bigger door that you're not going to be able to close if you're talking about it in that kind of a sense. Because if you're talking about people taking advantage of the system and getting too many abortions, okay, well then there's also people who are taking advantage of the welfare system, yet there's nothing
driving around in
being done about that.
Escalades while on welfare.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying though. But if you're just going to say that, okay, well this has to be shut down then because there's people taking advantage of it, then everything in the world has to be shut down.
I'm not saying it needs to be shut down. I'm saying we need to look at the system.
But it's everywhere. But it's every system then. But that's what I'm saying though. So like
it's cheaper
grocery
to
stores.
it's
Grocery
cheaper
stores.
to buy
Somebody's taking advantage of things at grocery stores.
than it is to go through the whole fucking ordeal of an abortion.
Yeah, okay, but what if, Tony, you are a woman who has an abusive partner who wants to get you pregnant to try to keep you around, and so they poke holes in that condom, and they pretend to use a condom and then end up coming inside of you, and then you've now 5 separate times had to go and get abortions because you're terrified to have a baby with your abusive boyfriend in a relationship that you can't get out of. Because wait, it gets better, because maybe you're a poor woman and you don't have a good job, right? And so how are you going to get out of that? You're now financially stuck and tied to someone. But they won't, though. But they won't. That's the thing.
They will.
They
or
won't.
That, or you'll end up homeless on LA streets, on the streets
Point
of
of privilege.
LA. Yes,
Point
Bree,
of privilege. What is wrong with a woman choosing to have those 4 or 5 abortions?
Yeah, I don't think there is.
Because
if
a pack
she's
of
not
condoms is like $5.
If she's not going past a certain point, at this point, it's a science that it can be done. So what is wrong with that?
That chick has a higher kill count than fucking Kyle Rittenhouse.
Why
That's
doesn't
fine.
someone have the right to choose to do that with their own body if they're not exceeding a certain amount of days where like a baby's full grown or whatever? But if it's just like right at contraception, why can't a woman do that? And why is she automatically labeled a slut when there's other people involved in that?
I want to know.
Why is that an issue? Why can't I have
know,
10 abortions if I want?
I want to know why Tony hasn't,
or whatever.
I want to know why Tony. I want to know why Tony hasn't been arrested for murdering all of his children over the years. Because if we're going to talk, I was like, if we're going to talk realistically, your sperm is more of an alive being than anything. It swims, it moves, it has a purpose, it has somewhere to go, than a clump of cells inside of a woman who haven't formed into anything yet. So
but those cells are alive.
Okay, but so's your sperm then. Your sperm is a bunch of millions of little itty bitty babies that you throw in the toilet all the time.
But also, why would you care?
So then why? So
they're not
that's what I'm
people
saying.
at that point.
Okay, they're not people when they're in a clump of cells inside a uterus either, is what I'm saying though. So if you're going to say that a clump of cells inside a woman's uterus,
cells become a person, where's that cutoff?
Exactly. That's exactly what we're debating here. So what I'm saying, Tony, is that you're a murderer and you've murdered millions of your own children.
Billions.
Yeah, billions at this point.
Yes.
It's just like
I'm like
and guess what? It's not my business because why would I care? But if you're going to insert yourself inside of this position that you and you're taking your way, then I'm going to now say that I think that you should be arrested and that men should not be allowed to jack off at all unless it is inside of a woman or for the idea of gathering said sperm so that they can make babies. Because I think that you're wasting God's creation.
But why do we care about murder only in certain circumstances?
That's what I'm saying.
Why is it? I don't understand.
That's what I'm trying to prove. That's what I'm trying to prove. That's what I don't get.
Kari, can you clue in? Can everyone else silence? Kari, can you give us your opinion on this?
On sperm? Because
you look irritated and like we're all irritated.
I was sat here wondering,
of course,
like,
women
this is my life now. But, I think Jamie has a point that sperm are more kind of categorically alive than an egg. But, I mean, I don't think either are life. It takes both to... Yes, Jamie?
I just think it's weird that a man can eject their own little sperm, but the moment a woman tries to eject a man's sperm, it's murder.
Ooh.
Yeah, but it's not sperm.
When a woman does it.
It's not sperm once it has fertilized the egg.
But why do we care about that?
Did you know that sperm can hang around inside somebody's cervix for weeks? Wait, no. Sperm can hang out in somebody's cervix for weeks before an egg is fertilized, okay?
Two weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks inside of there. So again, your sperm is alive, hanging out in somebody's cervix, chilling and waiting for an egg to drop. So you're telling me that it's not alive? It's not a human?
Wait.
It's alive waiting. It's not like it magically just goes immediately to the egg.
Dolphins are alive. They're not fucking humans.
Point of privilege.
Science. We know what
Hundred
science
percent.
rape a
is.
lot of
That's
things.
science. It's nothing special. Kari.
Possession is 9/10 of the law.
Yes.
Oh, it's yours.
So you could look at it like a donation.
Wait.
That
And
then,
depending
that
on who
then
you
the
donate it to,
responsibility
it could
is on
be
the
like
woman,
to the
right? And
Salvation
that's where
Army.
they can make a choice. But I mean, it's not like you're in there helping build the baby.
Exactly. You're not. You're
So
giving it.
That's
You're
why I
giving it
don't
some
think you should have
chromosomes.
much of a choice. I mean, in an emotionally stable relationship, you'd probably have your partner help you make the choice, right? But like a lot of women don't get that choice, so they have to make the choice for themselves.
The cervix
don't-
with an
yeah.
S. Swervix. I'm still trying to
Swerve.
get to understanding why we care if a woman has 4 or 5 or 10 or 90 abortions.
I don't care.
Why can't
I
we do
don't. I
that?
think Tony seems to care, but I'm not
So-
sure.
Because the same
I don't know
people,
why.
I'll tell you why I care. Because the same people who push this shit, especially on TV and in media, the same people who push this shit are the same people who say, you don't have the right to own XYZ. And I'm sure gun rights will come up in a future episode, but I will save it until that fucking happens.
I was gonna say, isn't it crazy when people want to talk about abortion rights, they try to like change the subject by like bringing up guns, like that has anything to do with anything?
Because one, abortion isn't covered under the Constitution, and guns are.
Yeah.
As a product of the time,
World.
think about it this way: if they were to make the Bill of Rights now,
Today.
Currently, fuck yeah.
do you think so? Would abortion be under like an amendment for free healthcare, like we have here, right?
That's an interesting conversation. Would it?
I
How
think it
would
I think it's an intrinsic part of how society is developed in the past 60 years is having birth control.
how would it change? How would the First Amendment change and the Fifth?
Well, I think a
and all
lot
these
of
other
a
things?
lot of right wingers would get butthurt, but I think societally it would do.
I think
Good to have it
right-wingers-
legislated in an amendment.
No, we're not
right-wingers
going there.
defend on religion too much. Okay, we won't go there now. All right, I think that's a good place to stop today, you guys.
Okay, so
We
final
really-
thoughts.
We yelled at the end.
Didn't get
We yelled
enough
at the end.
We did.
answer.
We got it at the end.
Yeah.
You
You did,
yelled
I
at the
did.
end.
You did it.
Okay.
You did. I didn't. I will just say
The
this. Listen,
Constitution was written. You know what? Here's the problem. When the Constitution was written, the only people who were people of value were white men who owned land. So that's a whole other story.
Mm.
Mm.
And on that
is
bombshell,
that the truth?
Those are the only people who are allowed to vote.
Because women don't have the right to bear arms, only men.
Or black people.
I will say though that like the people that probably will be forced to carry their child, you best bet those people are not going to turn out to be your A-class citizens most of the time, and for sure you are just birthing more like extreme leftists. They will grow up most likely not having any support. You will pay for more of it. They will be up to more crime. You will blame all their policies on that. And the cycle will continue, but it will get worse and more polarized.
Listen, what's going to happen
Are you
over
telling
time
me
is
there's
there's
gonna
just
be
going to be
more-
liberals.
Are you telling me there's going to be more autonomous zones in Portland where they rape and kill people?
I have no idea.
I have
I'm just
no idea.
saying.
Chaz was.
I'm just
that in
saying the
Portland,
people
or
that
is
you
that
force
in-
to have those children.
No, that wasn't even close, Tony. Good try, though. Good
Is it
try.
in Portland
Yeah,
or
maybe not
Seattle?
leftists, but
That was
liberals.
that was an A
Chaz
for
was in
Republican
Portland.
effort.
the Chaz was in Portland.
That was definitely
It was
some
Portland.
Fox
Yeah,
News
it was
research.
I'm not like
That
well-versed in
actually
what
happened.
there, but yeah, there was an autonomous zone that was
Wrong.
set up in the city.
I'm a class AAA citizen. You're fake news. You're fake news. You're fake news.
Listen, I'm a citizen.
Okay.
Thank you, Lindsay. I'm the best.
Final thoughts.
All right. All right. My
Okay.
final thought. My final thought is I still have COVID. I'm testing positive, but I'm stronger than COVID. COVID can't beat me, even if it tried. I am amazing.
Isn't that what Trump said when he was sick? He was like,
Yeah, I was
they've never
trying
seen
to-
this before. The mask
I'm
is
so
gonna have
healthy.
Yeah, I'm trying to channel him. I am the greatest president. I mean, the greatest show host of all time. Yeah, that's it. Bye.
All right.
Fuck it, I'm gone.
Mm. Okay, Tony.
Tony, your final
thoughts. This is good for a show for this. I think we played it well. Kept the audience engaged. You guys are still here. You don't hate us. I haven't checked to see how many of you have unfollowed me on Twitter yet, but
at least
Listen,
3.
if this show does anything, it should at least be able to demonstrate how people that have extremely opposing views can still be friends, get along, and have a conversation at the end of the day. So don't be afraid to associate or hang out with people just because they're different than you. If anything, that just gives you another opportunity to learn something different or hear a different point of view than maybe you're not used to. And that is very important, I think, to all of us. So thank you, everyone, for chilling with us today. It's going to get wilder. Obviously, we have many more, and I added a lot to the fishbowl today. You could also hit us up on Twitter, or if you're in our Discord, or again with the comments if you have another topic you want us to throw into the fishbowl.
Leave a comment below the video. That is like the most important thing that you can do in terms of promoting us through the horrific algorithms that we seem to be living with.
Horrific.
If you want us to succeed, leave a comment. Leave a comment with topics. I think that's the best way to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. There is just leave a comment with topics, and we will add them to the fishbowl of topics. And then
I don't think we're afraid. We're not afraid.
We're not afraid.
We might have to visit abortion again, though, because I feel like there's points that were missed.
Well, add abortion part 2 as a
part
thing.
2.
Part 2.
But I think, it's great. I think this was really great because people got a chance to see some of the things that we talk about behind the scenes, but they also got to see the fact that we are not the same people. Like, we're not 4 cookie cutter people on this show that do 2 podcasts a week or 3 podcasts a week and talk for 6 hours or so, whatever. So yeah, we're different people from different parts of the world, and we all have different
massively different.
We have terrible arguments.
We have a lot disagreements
for like an hour, and we're like, that would have been a cool conversation if other people had witnessed it, because like we got to a resolution in the end. So,
damn, Greg, stop blaming the rhythm. It might just be you. Jesus Christ. Okay. Damn.
Damn, son.
Go slip my wrist now. All right. Thank you. Great
final
show. See you guys
thoughts.
next week.
Where can we find?
That's it.
Where can we find you, Brie?
Oh, you can find me at Matt's Brie on Twitter.
Cool. Where can we find you, Tony?
You can find me on BOTT Water on Twitter.
Excellent. You can't find me. I don't exist. I am the secret chord snowboard.
Yeah, can people stop trying to add me on Instagram? Leave me alone.
Okay, bye. And on that bombshell, we are...